Beneath Antarctica's endless ice lies a world the world isn't supposed to see. From ancient civilizations to secret military bases, hidden structures, and unexplained phenomena, the frozen continent may be hiding truths that could change history as we know it. Tonight we journey into the secrets of Antarctica, uncovering what lies beneath the ice. If you dare to look, Antarctica. The very name evokes images of endless white horizons, towering walls of ice, howling winds, and a desolation so complete that it feels almost otherworldly. Of all the continents on Earth, none is as remote, as unforgiving, or as fascinating as this vast frozen wilderness at the bottom of the globe. It is a place both harsh and fragile, a land that has drawn explorers, scientists, and dreamers into its embrace for centuries, offering both terrible challenges and extraordinary discoveries. To truly appreciate the mystery of Antarctica, one must first understand its immense size and extreme environment, and then trace the courageous, often tragic story of human attempts to explore and survive upon its icy stage. Antarctica. The icy giant Antarctica is the fifth largest continent in the world. Bigger than Europe and almost twice the size of Australia, it spans an area of about 14 million square kilometers, and yet despite its massive size it is almost entirely covered in ice. In fact, around 98% of its surface is blanketed by an ice sheet that averages more than 1.6 kilometers thick, with certain parts reaching depths of over 4 kilometers. This makes Antarctica the highest continent in terms of average elevation, towering above all others, not with mountains of rock but with mountains of frozen water. This ice sheet is more than just a frozen surface. It is a colossal reservoir of the Earth's fresh water. Roughly 60 to 70% of the world's fresh water is locked up in the Antarctic ice. If it were ever to melt entirely, sea levels across the planet would rise by more than 60 meters, completely redrawing coastlines and reshaping human civilization. It is no wonder, then, that scientists regard Antarctica as one of the most critical elements in the global climate system, a place where changes in ice dynamics can ripple out to affect the entire planet. Despite its size, Antarctica is a desert. The average annual precipitation on the continent is less than 200 millimeters along the coast, and far less in the interior, making it drier than the Sahara Desert. What little snow does fall does not melt away, but instead compresses and accumulates into the vast ice sheets over thousands of years. Antarctica is not just cold. It is the coldest place on Earth. The lowest natural temperature ever recorded on the planet was measured here. 89.0 at the Soviet Union's Vostok station in 1983. Even in summer, the interior temperatures often remain well below freezing, while the coastal regions only briefly rise above zero during the warmest months. The harsh climate is shaped by several factors. Firstly, Antarctica is centered on the South Pole, meaning it receives very little sunlight during the long polar winter, when the sun disappears below the horizon for months. During this period, the continent is shrouded in darkness and the cold intensifies dramatically. Secondly, its high elevation contributes to the chill. The higher above sea level, the colder the air tends to be. And thirdly, the reflective surface of the ice bounces much of the sun's energy back into space, preventing the continent from warming up even when sunlight does reach it. The winds of Antarctica are equally infamous. Known as katabatic winds, they are formed when cold, dense air from the high interior rushes downhill toward the coast, gathering immense speed. These winds can exceed 200 kilometers per hour, creating blizzards so fierce that visibility drops to nothing. For explorers and scientists, these winds can be more dangerous than the cold itself, capable of overturning vehicles, ripping apart tents, and causing frostbite in minutes. The remoteness of Antarctica only adds to its hostility. Surrounded by the stormy Southern Ocean, The continent is isolated from the rest of the world by powerful currents that make navigation treacherous. Ships heading toward Antarctica must brave some of the roughest seas on Earth, with towering waves and unpredictable weather. Air travel is equally challenging, with limited landing strips and weather conditions that can change in an instant. When all of these elements combine, the cold, the dryness, the winds, and the isolation, Antarctica becomes one of the most inhospitable environments on Earth. No permanent human settlements exist there. The only inhabitants are temporary research staff, numbering between 1,000 and 5,000 depending on the season. Unlike the Arctic, which has indigenous peoples who have adapted to its cold, Antarctica has no native human population. Life, however, does exist. Penguins, seals, and whales thrive along the coasts, while hardy mosses, lichens, and microbes cling to survival in rocky outcrops. But for humans, survival here requires immense planning, specialized equipment, and a constant battle against the elements. It is this very harshness, however, that has fueled both fear and fascination. For centuries, Antarctica was a blank spot on the map, a rumored southern landmass that no one had seen, but that many believed must exist. Long before Antarctica was discovered, ancient philosophers and geographers speculated about the existence of a vast southern continent. The Greeks believed in terra australis incognita, the unknown southern land, which they imagined must exist to balance the land masses of the northern hemisphere. This belief persisted through the Middle Ages and into the Age of Exploration, inspiring countless expeditions that sought to find this fabled continent. Sailors occasionally sighted icebergs or distant lands in the far south, but for centuries no one managed to confirm the presence of a true continent. In the 16th century, explorers like Ferdinand Magellan and James Cook ventured further into the Southern Ocean, braving dangerous seas in search of the southern land. Cook, during his voyages in the 1770s, sailed further south than anyone before him and crossed the Antarctic Circle. Though he did not see Antarctica itself, he encountered vast fields of pack ice and concluded that if a southern continent existed, it must lie beyond a formidable barrier of ice and storms. The early 19th century finally brought the first confirmed sightings of the Antarctic continent. In 1820, several expeditions, Russian, British, and American, claimed to have glimpsed the ice-covered landmass within months of each other. The Russian explorer Fabian Gottlieb von Bellingshausen, leading a naval expedition, is often credited as the first to record the sighting of continental ice in January 1820. Just days later, British naval officer Edward Bransfield also reported seeing part of the Antarctic peninsula. Within a few years, sealing and whaling vessels began to push into the Southern Ocean, lured by the promise of rich resources. In 1821, an American sealer named John Davis may have been the first person to set foot on Antarctica itself, though his claim is debated. What is certain is that over the following decades, sealers and whalers hunted the abundant wildlife of the region to near extinction, paving the way for more organized scientific expeditions. The late 19th and early 20th centuries became known as the heroic age of Antarctic exploration. This was a time when explorers, driven by a spirit of discovery and national pride, embarked on daring expeditions into the unknown. Their journeys were marked by incredible feats of endurance, tragic failures, and legendary stories that still inspire today. One of the earliest expeditions was led by the Belgian Adrien de Gerlache in 1897-99. His ship, the Belgica, became trapped in pack ice and drifted for over a year, forcing the crew to endure the first winter ever spent in Antarctica. Among the crew was a young Roald Amundsen, who would later become one of the most famous polar explorers in history. British expeditions soon followed, spearheaded by men like Robert Falcon Scott and Ernest Shackleton. Scott led two major expeditions, the second of which aimed to reach the South Pole. In 1911, Scott and his team set off across the frozen continent, only to arrive at the pole and discover that Roald Amundsen had beaten them by just over a month. Tragically, Scott and his companions perished on the return journey, their bodies later found frozen in their tents. Their story of bravery and tragedy became one of the most famous episodes of polar exploration. Amundsen's expedition, by contrast, was a triumph. Using sled dogs and meticulous planning, he reached the South Pole in December 1911, becoming the first human to stand at the very bottom of the Earth. His success demonstrated the importance of preparation, adaptability, and an understanding of survival in extreme conditions. Shackleton's name, too, is etched into Antarctic history. His 1914-17 Endurance expedition ended in disaster when the ship was trapped and crushed by pack ice. Yet Shackleton's leadership and determination ensured that every member of his crew survived after an epic journey across ice floes, open seas, and barren islands. His story is often cited as one of the greatest survival tales ever told. While the heroic age captured the public's imagination, it also laid the groundwork for scientific research. Later expeditions shifted their focus from planting flags to understanding Antarctica's unique environment. In the mid-20th century, international cooperation became a defining feature of Antarctic exploration. During the International Geophysical Year, 1957-58, scientists from around the world established research stations across the continent, gathering data on geology, meteorology, and glaciology. This period also led to the signing of the Antarctic Treaty in 1959, a landmark agreement that declared Antarctica a zone of peace and science, prohibiting military activity and mineral exploitation. Today, dozens of nations operate research stations in Antarctica, studying everything from climate change to astronomy. Despite the technological advancements that allow modern explorers to survive in relative comfort, the continent remains a place of profound mystery and challenge. Beneath its ice sheets lie hidden mountain ranges and vast subglacial lakes, while its future remains tied to the fate of global warming. Antarctica is more than just a frozen wasteland. It is a place that has tested the limits of human endurance, inspired some of the greatest stories of exploration, and continues to hold secrets that could reshape our understanding of the planet. Its sheer size, brutal climate, and remote location make it one of the least hospitable places on Earth. And yet it is also one of the most important, both scientifically and symbolically. The story of Antarctica is far from complete. As scientists continue to probe its icy depths and monitor its shifting glaciers, new discoveries await. Perhaps beneath the ice lie clues to Earth's past climates, or even evidence of life in extreme environments that could inform the search for extraterrestrial existence. Whatever the future holds, one thing is certain: the mysterious ice-covered continent will continue to fascinate, challenge, and inspire humanity for generations to come. Somewhere beneath the endless white expanse of Antarctica lies a mystery that has captured the imagination of researchers, adventurers, and dreamers alike. It is a land so remote and so unforgiving that for thousands of years it remained hidden from human eyes. Yet in modern times, questions have arisen about whether this frozen continent might conceal secrets far older than any scientific explanation can easily account for. Among these questions, perhaps the most provocative is whether the ice of Antarctica hides traces of ancient civilizations, cultures long lost to history, or perhaps even unknown chapters of human development that challenge the conventional timeline. This idea straddles the line between speculation and conspiracy, but it refuses to disappear because every now and then, unusual evidence or unexplained discoveries appear to breathe life into it. The thought that an advanced culture may have thrived in Antarctica before it was buried under miles of ice often begins with one central fact. Antarctica has not always been a frozen desert. Geological evidence suggests that millions of years ago, the continent was part of the supercontinent Gondwana and was home to lush forests, rivers, and abundant life. Fossilized plant remains and even traces of ancient reptiles have been found, indicating that in prehistoric times, Antarctica had a climate far milder than today. While mainstream science places this verdant period far before the rise of humanity, those who support alternative theories argue that perhaps the timeline is not so straightforward. Some believe that there may have been a window of opportunity in the distant past where early or even advanced civilizations could have established themselves on what is now the most inhospitable place on Earth. The spark for much of this speculation can be traced to a number of anomalies observed in the icy landscape. Among the most famous are the supposed pyramidal structures spotted on satellite images. These pyramid-like formations, located in the Ellsworth mountain range, bear a striking resemblance to the geometric precision of the pyramids of Egypt or Mesoamerica. To the untrained eye, the sharp angles and triangular symmetry suggest deliberate construction rather than natural erosion. Supporters of the theory argue that it would be an incredible coincidence for nature to sculpt multiple mountains into nearly perfect pyramids in such a remote location. Could these be the remains of an ancient civilization, preserved beneath the ice for thousands of years? Critics, however, dismiss these claims as pareidolia, the human tendency to see familiar shapes in random natural formations. They insist that the so-called pyramids are simply peaks shaped by wind, ice, and geological forces over millions of years, and yet, the allure of the possibility that they are man-made refuses to fade. Satellite imagery has also revealed other anomalies that raise questions. Certain areas of Antarctica appear to display geometric shapes and unusual formations inconsistent with purely natural processes. Rectangular outcroppings, straight-line ridges, and grid-like patterns have fueled speculation about hidden structures buried under the ice. Some researchers argue that these shapes could represent foundations, walls, or even vast complexes concealed by glacial layers. In the modern era, where remote sensing technology allows us to peer through some layers of ice using radar and thermal imaging, the potential for startling discoveries has only increased. There have been reports of vast subglacial lakes, networks of tunnels, and even unexplained heat signatures that suggest geothermal activity, or perhaps something else entirely. The most well-known of these hidden features is Lake Vostok, a massive subglacial lake buried beneath nearly 4 kilometers of ice. Isolated for millions of years, this hidden body of water has been the focus of intense scientific interest. While the mainstream explanation emphasizes the possibility of discovering unique microbial life adapted to extreme conditions, others wonder whether such hidden lakes could conceal archaeological evidence of past civilizations. If human or humanoid societies ever existed in Antarctica, subglacial environments like Lake Vostok would be among the few places where traces might still remain preserved. Adding fuel to the fire are the stories of suppressed or secret discoveries. Some claim that governments have deliberately hidden information about what has been found in Antarctica. Conspiracy theories abound, suggesting that military expeditions in the mid-20th century uncovered far more than they revealed. Operation High Jump, a U.S. Navy mission in 1946-47, is one example often cited. Officially described as a training exercise and research mission, it involved an unusually large fleet, including aircraft carriers, destroyers, and thousands of men. While historians explain that the operation was part of Cold War preparedness, alternative theorists argue that its scale was far greater than necessary for training. Speculation suggests that they may have encountered something unexpected: ancient ruins, secret bases, or evidence of civilizations lost beneath the ice. The theory of civilizations beneath Antarctica is also closely tied to ancient maps that seem to depict the continent before it was covered in ice. The most famous of these is the Piri Reis map, created in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral. The map astonishingly shows parts of South America and what some interpret as the northern coastline of Antarctica, drawn centuries before the continent's official discovery. Even more curious, the map appears to depict the land free of its current icy covering. This has led some researchers to suggest that the map was based on much older sources, possibly from a civilization with advanced geographical knowledge. Skeptics, of course, argued that the map has been misinterpreted, and that the supposed Antarctic coastline is simply a misdrawn South America. But for those who are open to alternative history, the Piri Reis map remains tantalizing evidence that someone, somewhere, had knowledge of Antarctica long before modern exploration. The broader mythology surrounding Antarctica as a repository of ancient civilizations often intersects with other fringe theories, including the notion of Atlantis. Plato's legendary lost civilization has been placed in many locations across the globe, but some theorists argue that the icy continent is the most fitting candidate. They claim that Atlantis, with its advanced culture and sudden disappearance, may have been located in Antarctica before a cataclysmic shift in Earth's climate buried it beneath ice. The theory relies on the concept of pole shifts, geological or magnetic changes that could have dramatically altered the position of the continents and caused once temperate regions to freeze. While mainstream geology disputes the rapid pole shift model, the idea remains a cornerstone of alternative interpretations of Antarctic mystery. Stories of pyramids, lost civilizations, and hidden structures have also been fueled by the accounts of whistleblowers and alleged insiders. Over the years, individuals claiming to have worked with government or military programs have suggested that massive archaeological digs have taken place beneath Antarctica's ice, revealing structures that defy conventional history. While such stories lack verifiable evidence, their persistence adds to the sense of mystery surrounding the continent. Eyewitness claims often speak of enormous caverns beneath the ice, artificial tunnels extending for miles, and artifacts that suggest a level of technology inconsistent with the accepted timeline of human development. What makes these stories particularly compelling is that Antarctica is the most restricted continent on Earth, governed by the Antarctic Treaty System. It is off limits to commercial development and militarization, and access is tightly controlled. Only scientists and select personnel are allowed to work there, and the harsh environment prevents widespread exploration. This limited accessibility means that very few people can confirm or deny what lies beneath the ice, creating fertile ground for speculation. Some of the anomalies observed through satellite imagery have even been interpreted as massive entrances to underground complexes. Large oval-shaped depressions in the ice, resembling doorways hundreds of feet high, have been highlighted by researchers who argue that such formations cannot be natural. They suggest that these may be gateways into vast subterranean chambers, perhaps built by an advanced human civilization, or, as some more radical theories propose, by an extraterrestrial presence. The suggestion of alien involvement may seem extreme, but in the realm of Antarctic mysteries it often surfaces. Proponents argue that if Antarctica is hiding structures that predate known human history, it may point to outside influence. Given the scale and difficulty of building in such a region, The fascination with pyramids in particular cannot be understated. Across the globe, pyramids appear in disparate cultures from Egypt to Mesoamerica to China, often without any clear connection between the civilizations that built them. This recurring architectural form leads some to argue for a global network of ancient knowledge, perhaps even a single lost civilization that spread its influence worldwide. If pyramids are indeed found in Antarctica, it would lend dramatic weight to the idea that a sophisticated culture once thrived there, leaving its monuments behind. Mainstream science, of course, maintains skepticism. Geologists explain the Antarctic pyramids as nunataks, peaks of mountains that protrude through the ice and take on angular shapes through natural processes. They argue that there is no evidence of human habitation in Antarctica prior to modern exploration, and that the extreme conditions would have made it impossible for civilizations to develop there. Furthermore, radiocarbon dating and ice core samples suggest that the continent has been covered by ice for millions of years, long before the rise of humanity. Yet despite this, alternative theorists continue to point out gaps, anomalies, and unexplained features that leave room for interpretation. The enduring appeal of these theories lies not only in the anomalies themselves, but also in humanity's fascination with the unknown. Antarctica is one of the last truly unexplored frontiers on Earth, a place where vast regions remain untouched and hidden beneath miles of ice. The very fact that so little is known makes it a canvas for the imagination, where history, myth, and science blend into tantalizing possibilities. Whether it is the allure of lost civilizations, the romance of Atlantis, or the thrill of government secrets, Antarctica represents the ultimate mystery waiting to be unlocked. In the end, the question of ancient civilizations beneath Antarctica remains unresolved. The evidence is fragmentary, speculative, and often disputed, but the intrigue endures. Perhaps the so-called pyramids are nothing more than oddly shaped mountains, and perhaps the strange geometric patterns in satellite images are quirks of ice and rock. Or perhaps they are hints of something far more profound, reminders of a forgotten chapter in human history waiting to be uncovered. Until the ice gives up its secrets or until exploration becomes more open and widespread, Antarctica will continue to inspire both wonder and speculation. What is certain is that the mysteries of the frozen continent challenge us to think beyond accepted narratives. Even if no ancient civilization is ever discovered beneath the ice, the very possibility forces us to confront how much of Earth's story remains untold. Antarctica may hold answers not only about the planet's geological past, but also about the resilience of life and the limits of human understanding. For now, it stands as the ultimate blank slate, a place where myth and science collide, and where the imagination dares to envision cities, pyramids, and civilizations long buried beneath the silent, crushing weight of ice. Deep in the frozen heart of Antarctica lies a landscape that is as forbidding as it is fascinating. For much of human history, this vast continent remained unknown, a place that only existed in speculation and myth. Today, while it has become a center for scientific study, it is also the subject of countless rumors, whispers, and theories about what truly happens beneath its icy surface. Beyond the research stations that fly the flags of dozens of nations, there are persistent stories of secret military installations, clandestine experiments, and technologies hidden away from the world's eyes. The combination of real history, government secrecy, and the sheer remoteness of Antarctica has created fertile ground for speculation, making the icy continent one of the most mysterious regions on Earth. The existence of real bases in Antarctica is undisputed. Since the mid-20th century, countries have established research stations on the continent to study everything from glaciology and meteorology to astronomy and climate change. The United States maintains McMurdo Station, the largest of all the Antarctic bases, capable of housing over 1,000 people during peak summer seasons. Amundsen Scott South Pole Station sits directly on the geographic South Pole, serving as a hub for astronomical observations and climate studies. Russia operates Vostok Station, infamous for recording the coldest temperature on Earth, and for its proximity to Lake Vostok, a massive subglacial lake sealed off from the surface for millions of years. Other nations, including the United Kingdom, China, Australia, and Chile, maintain their own facilities. On the surface, these stations are devoted entirely to science, protected under the Antarctic Treaty, which designates the continent as a place of peace and prohibits military activity. Yet the treaty itself, and the restrictions surrounding it, are often viewed with suspicion. Why is Antarctica the only continent where territorial claims are frozen, where nations agree not to exploit resources, and where access is so carefully controlled? For those inclined to see hidden motives, the treaty represents not just cooperation, but a veil of secrecy. If Antarctica were merely a frozen wasteland, skeptics argue, why would such tight international agreements be necessary? This line of thought has fueled countless theories about what really lies beneath the ice. One of the most enduring stories concerns Nazi Germany and its supposed operations in Antarctica during and after World War II. Historical records confirm that in 1938-39, a German expedition traveled to Antarctica aboard the ship Schwabenland. The expedition surveyed parts of Queen Maud Land, dropped swastika-marked flags to assert presence, and mapped areas that the Nazis renamed Neuschwabenland. While officially described as a scientific mission, later speculation claimed that the Germans established secret bases in the region. According to these theories, the Nazis constructed underground facilities beneath the ice, experimenting with advanced technologies, weapons, and even flying disc-like aircraft that later fed into post-war UFO legends. The collapse of Nazi Germany and the chaotic end of the war left many questions unanswered, giving birth to rumors that some leaders escaped to Antarctica, continuing their work in isolation. The alleged Nazi connection is often tied to later military operations. Operation High Jump, conducted by the United States in 1946-47, remains one of the largest expeditions ever mounted to Antarctica. Officially, it was described as a training mission designed to test equipment and personnel in cold conditions. It involved an enormous fleet, over 4,000 personnel, aircraft carriers, destroyers, and planes. Such a massive deployment, critics argue, seems excessive for a simple research or training exercise. Conspiracy theorists claim that the true objective was to locate and neutralize surviving Nazi bases in Antarctica. Some versions of the story suggest that U.S. forces encountered unexpected resistance, fueling tales of advanced German technology hidden beneath the ice. While historians dismiss these claims as speculative exaggerations, the scale of Operation High Jump has never ceased to spark curiosity about what really motivated such an undertaking. Beyond the Nazi legend, Antarctica has been linked to modern military secrecy. Although the Antarctic Treaty prohibits the establishment of military bases, it does not ban the use of military personnel and equipment for logistical support. This leaves room for interpretation. Some argue that military forces are present under the guise of scientific support, providing an ideal cover for experiments and operations hidden from the public eye. Reports of restricted zones where even scientists cannot freely travel add to the sense of mystery. There are regions of Antarctica where access is limited not just by natural danger, but by official decree. Some researchers claim they have been warned not to enter certain areas, citing environmental concerns as the reason. though others suspect that more sensitive activities are being concealed. Satellite images have occasionally fueled these suspicions. Enthusiasts scanning aerial photographs of Antarctica have pointed out unusual structures, perfectly circular depressions, and formations that appear to be artificial. Some claim to have identified massive entrances carved into mountainsides, resembling gateways large enough for aircraft. These supposed anomalies are interpreted as hidden entrances to underground bases, perhaps housing research programs or technology not meant for public knowledge. While mainstream science explains most of these anomalies as natural geological formations or artifacts of ice and shadow, the allure of hidden complexes remains powerful. Theories about secret experiments are not limited to military applications. Some suggest that Antarctica is a testing ground for advanced energy technologies, climate manipulation, or even biological research. The isolation of the continent makes it an ideal location for experiments that would be too dangerous to conduct elsewhere. Stories circulate about underground laboratories where genetic engineering or weaponized pathogens are studied. Though no concrete evidence supports these claims, the secrecy surrounding many Antarctic projects provides a fertile breeding ground for speculation. The presence of facilities like Vostok Station, where drilling into subglacial lakes is conducted under strict international oversight, feeds rumors that something far more significant is being discovered and kept hidden from the public. Antarctica's extreme environment also makes it a prime site for testing, equipment and technologies designed for outer space. Its barren, icy expanses mimic the conditions of other planets and moons, making it a natural training ground for space exploration. NASA and other space agencies have indeed used Antarctica for simulations and equipment testing. Some theorists, however, push this idea further, suggesting that the continent is involved in programs linked to extraterrestrial technology. Stories abound of crashed alien craft hidden beneath the ice, reverse engineering programs carried out in secret bases, and even ongoing contact with non-human intelligences. While these ideas may sound fantastical, they persist in the popular imagination, sustained by a steady flow of unverified claims, alleged whistleblower testimonies, and satellite anomalies. The overlap between reality and speculation is what makes the subject so compelling. There is no doubt that Antarctica has been a stage for geopolitical maneuvering. The Cold War saw both the United States and the Soviet Union establish prominent bases, and both nations sought strategic advantage in maintaining a presence there. Scientific research was a public justification, but intelligence gathering and military preparedness likely played roles as well. The continent's remote location, combined with its international legal status, offered both a challenge and an opportunity. Even today, China's growing presence in Antarctica has raised eyebrows, with critics suggesting that research stations could also serve dual purposes, monitoring shipping routes and projecting influence over future resource exploitation. Restricted zones and secrecy surrounding certain areas add fuel to the fire. Some regions are said to be off-limits due to environmental fragility, yet others wonder whether this is merely a cover story. There are accounts of explorers and independent adventurers who were turned back or warned not to proceed into particular regions. While safety and environmental concerns are valid explanations, the ambiguity provides fertile soil for rumors. If one wished to conceal a base or experiment, few places on Earth would offer better natural cover than the endless ice of Antarctica. Speculation often circles back to the possibility of ancient structures beneath the ice. Some theorists merge the narrative of lost civilizations with that of modern secrecy, suggesting that governments are hiding the discovery of ruins, artifacts, or technologies far older than recorded history. If pyramids or other geometric formations identified on satellite images are indeed artificial, Perhaps nations with bases nearby are conducting excavations in secret. According to some claims, this is why certain zones are restricted, and why international cooperation in Antarctica is unusually strong. The powers of the world may be working together to study and control knowledge that could rewrite human history. Adding further intrigue are periodic reports of unusual phenomena in Antarctica. Strange magnetic anomalies, unexplained signals, and sudden no-fly zones have all been documented, though their explanations often remain vague. Some suggest these anomalies point to vast caverns or structures beneath the ice, while others argue they are linked to undisclosed military technology. In the absence of transparency, even ordinary scientific data can take on a conspiratorial edge. The fascination with Antarctica's secret bases lies at the intersection of documented reality and unverified claims. On one hand, we know that nations have invested heavily in establishing and maintaining stations there, often at enormous cost. We know that logistical operations involve military support, and that certain regions remain highly restricted. On the other hand, the leap from logistical necessity to hidden alien technology or Nazi strongholds requires imagination and belief in the unseen. Yet it is precisely the lack of open access and the remoteness of Antarctica that sustains these ideas. Few people will ever travel to the continent, and fewer still will venture far beyond the designated research zones. In this vacuum, mystery flourishes. Even if the most extravagant claims are untrue, the idea of secret military and research bases in Antarctica is not entirely far-fetched. History has shown that governments often conceal sensitive projects, whether for strategic advantage, national security, or the development of technology. The remoteness of Antarctica provides the perfect environment for such activities. While official statements emphasize peace, science, and cooperation, the possibility remains that not everything happening on the ice is visible to the public. Ultimately, Antarctica represents the perfect canvas for both science and speculation. It is vast, remote, and almost entirely uninhabited, making it an ideal stage for both legitimate research and imagined secrets. Whether one believes in hidden Nazi fortresses, alien technology buried in the ice, or merely the strategic maneuvering of modern nations, the fascination remains the same. Antarctica is the last great frontier on Earth, a place where the known and the unknown blur together. Until full transparency and unrestricted exploration are possible, the stories of secret military and research bases will continue to thrive, fueled by a mixture of history, imagination, and the undeniable allure of the unknown. Antarctica is often portrayed as a silent frozen desert, a vast and lifeless world of ice where nothing moves but the wind and where time itself seems to stand still. Yet for decades, stories have emerged suggesting that beneath this outward stillness, the continent hides secrets that defy scientific explanation. Reports of strange lights cutting across the sky, mysterious signals intercepted from deep beneath the ice, unusual magnetic anomalies, and even wild theories of a hollow Earth have all contributed to Antarctica's aura of mystery. It is a place that seems to encourage speculation and wonder, a canvas upon which explorers, scientists, conspiracy theorists, and dreamers have all painted their visions of the unknown. Some of these accounts are grounded in unexplained but real data, others in the exaggerations of rumor and myth, and still others in outright speculation that pushes the limits of imagination. Together, they create a tapestry of enigmas that make Antarctica one of the most intriguing places on Earth. One of the recurring themes in reports from Antarctica is the appearance of strange lights. Though the aurora australis or southern lights is a well-known natural phenomenon, with green and red curtains of light dancing across the polar sky, other sightings have been less easily explained. accounts of glowing orbs moving in unconventional patterns, flashes of light illuminating remote regions, and even UFO-like objects have appeared in the journals of explorers and the reports of modern observers. Scientists often attribute unusual lights to atmospheric phenomena, ice crystals reflecting sunlight, or optical illusions caused by extreme weather conditions. Yet the stories persist that some lights are not natural but mechanical or artificial, suggesting unknown craft or hidden technologies. Even today, with satellite monitoring and advanced scientific observation, unexplained luminous phenomena continue to be reported over Antarctica, keeping alive the speculation that the frozen continent might conceal more than just ice and snow. Equally puzzling are the magnetic anomalies recorded in certain parts of Antarctica. The Earth's magnetic field is not uniform, and it is known to have anomalies in various regions of the globe. But Antarctica appears to host some particularly strange ones. Instruments have occasionally registered unusual spikes or disturbances in the magnetic field, drawing attention to specific areas beneath the ice. Some of these anomalies coincide with unexplored mountain ranges, such as the Gamburtsev subglacial mountains, a hidden chain the size of the Alps, buried under kilometers of ice. Others seem to originate from vast subglacial lakes or from regions where the geology is not yet fully understood. While geophysicists propose that these readings may be caused by variations in the Earth's crust, unusual rock formations, or even volcanic activity hidden beneath the ice, alternative interpretations suggest something far more exotic. For some, these anomalies are signs of vast hollow spaces beneath the continent, chambers that could shelter lost civilizations, advanced technologies, or even bases belonging to extraterrestrial visitors. In the 1960s and 1970s, reports began to circulate of mysterious signals being picked up in Antarctica. These signals, often in the form of unexplained radio transmissions or unusual bursts of energy, baffled researchers. Some were thought to originate from natural sources such as lightning storms, solar activity, or cosmic rays interacting with the atmosphere. Others, however, resisted easy classification. In recent decades, Antarctica has played a key role in detecting neutrinos, tiny particles that pass through matter almost undetected. Facilities like the IceCube Neutrino Observatory at the South Pole listen for these elusive messengers from deep space. While many of the signals recorded are consistent with known physics, occasionally detections occur that seem to defy expectations, hinting at phenomena beyond our current understanding of the universe. To conspiracy theorists, these unexplained signals are proof that something hidden lies beneath the ice, either ancient technology still active or transmissions from unknown intelligences. One of the boldest and most controversial ideas connected to Antarctica is the theory of a hollow Earth. Though dismissed by mainstream science, this concept has endured in popular imagination for centuries. Proponents claim that the Earth is not solid, but contains vast hollow spaces within, accessible through hidden openings at the poles. In this vision, Antarctica is not simply a barren sheet of ice but a gateway to inner worlds, perhaps even home to advanced civilizations hidden away from surface humanity. The roots of the hollow Earth idea stretch back to ancient myths of underworlds and subterranean realms, but it was given modern form in the 18th and 19th centuries by thinkers who speculated about planetary structure. In the 20th century, the theory became entwined with tales of secret Nazi bases, UFOs, and government cover-ups, with some claiming that entrances to the hollow Earth were discovered in Antarctica and deliberately concealed from the public. Supporters of the hollow Earth theory often point to alleged satellite images showing enormous openings in the ice, oval or circular depressions that they interpret as doorways leading into the planet's interior. While geologists explain these formations as natural crevasses, collapsed ice shelves, or even simply distortions in satellite photography, believers argue that governments and space agencies have tampered with imagery to obscure the truth. To them, the restricted access to much of Antarctica and the strict control over who can explore which areas serve as evidence that something extraordinary lies hidden there. Some even suggest that the unusual, magnetic anomalies recorded in certain parts of the continent are not geological at all, but are signatures of powerful technologies operating deep within. The Hollow Earth narrative has been embellished with tales of explorers who supposedly ventured into these hidden realms. One oft-cited story is that of Admiral Richard E. Byrd, the American naval officer and polar explorer. Byrd led several expeditions to Antarctica in the mid-20th century, and conspiracy literature often attributes to him a secret diary, in which he described flying into vast caverns at the pole, encountering advanced beings and witnessing landscapes of verdant growth hidden beneath the ice. While historians insist that no such diary exists and that Byrd's actual writings contain no such claims, the legend persists, adding fuel to the notion that Antarctica is not what it appears to be. Adding to the mystery are occasional reports of strange sounds emanating from Antarctica. Scientists monitoring the ice have detected unusual acoustic phenomena, including low-frequency hums and vibrations that travel for vast distances. Some of these sounds have been traced to ice movements calving glaciers or shifting tectonic activity, yet others remain unexplained, with their sources uncertain. For some, these sounds suggest mechanical activity, or even communication signals from beneath the ice. Combined with the anomalies in magnetic readings and unexplained lights, they form a web of evidence that, to some, points to hidden structures or technologies buried deep below the surface. The environment itself lends credence to wild speculation. Antarctica is the least explored continent, with much of its interior inaccessible to human travel. Beneath its kilometers-thick ice sheets lie mountain ranges, valleys, and lakes that have been sealed off for millions of years. Scientific surveys have only scratched the surface of this hidden geography. Each discovery, a new subglacial lake, a volcanic hotspot, or a mountain chain previously unknown, reminds us how little we truly know about the continent. In such an environment, it becomes easier to imagine that something extraordinary could remain concealed. Even mainstream science occasionally produces findings that ignite the imagination. The discovery of microbial life in extreme Antarctic environments demonstrates the resilience of life and suggests that subglacial lakes could harbor ecosystems completely unknown to us. Some researchers view Antarctica as a natural laboratory for understanding life in extreme conditions, including the possibility of life on icy moons such as Europa or Enceladus. To others, however, these discoveries feed into the narrative of hidden biospheres, perhaps even intelligent life, beneath the ice. The line between scientific curiosity and speculative theory often blurs when it comes to Antarctica. The very isolation of the continent contributes to its mythology. Few places on Earth are as tightly controlled, with international treaties regulating access and forbidding certain activities. Commercial exploitation, private development, and independent exploration are severely limited. While this is officially to protect the fragile environment and promote peaceful scientific research, skeptics argue that it also serves to prevent unwanted discoveries from being made public. Restricted zones, reports of researchers being warned away from certain areas, and the high level of secrecy surrounding some operations all provide fertile ground for suspicion. As with many great mysteries, the unexplained phenomena of Antarctica live in the space between fact and interpretation. Strange lights could be auroras, meteors, or reflections on the ice, but they could also be something artificial. Magnetic anomalies could be natural variations in the crust, or signs of vast structures hidden below. Mysterious signals could be cosmic in origin, or they could come from unknown technologies buried deep beneath the continent. And while the hollow Earth theory may lack scientific support, its persistence reflects a deeper longing for hidden worlds and undiscovered realms. Antarctica, by its very nature, invites such speculation because it remains one of the last places on Earth where large-scale mysteries could plausibly hide. The fascination with these anomalies is not likely to fade. As technology advances and exploration continues, new discoveries will undoubtedly emerge. Some will resolve old mysteries while others may create new ones. Perhaps in time, scientific data will explain the magnetic anomalies, the strange lights and the unusual signals in ways that satisfy mainstream understanding. Or perhaps some discoveries will prove stranger than we expect, hinting at truths that lie beyond current scientific models. Until then, Antarctica remains both a scientific frontier and a stage for imagination, a land where the natural and the speculative intertwine. In the end, the unexplained phenomena and anomalies of Antarctica reflect more than just curiosity about a frozen continent. They reflect humanity's hunger for mystery, our need to believe that there are still secrets hidden in the world, and our willingness to look beyond the surface for hidden truths. Whether the stories of lights in the sky, strange signals beneath the ice, and hollow earth caverns are rooted in reality or in myth, they reveal something profound about our relationship with the unknown. Antarctica is a reminder that the Earth itself still holds enigmas we have yet to unravel, and that sometimes the very act of wondering is as important as the answers we seek. The frozen expanse of Antarctica has always held a paradoxical place in the human imagination. On the one hand, it is seen as a forbidding desert of ice, a place so inhospitable that even the hardiest creatures of the natural world struggle to survive. On the other, it is viewed as a repository of secrets, a continent so little explored that it might still harbor discoveries capable of reshaping our understanding of both Earth and humanity. The question of what the future holds for Antarctica is not only about science and climate, but also about the unfolding of human curiosity, technological possibility, and the mysteries that lie beneath the ice. As research deepens and as the climate itself transforms this icy wilderness, Antarctica is positioned to play a pivotal role in rewriting our collective story. Modern research into Antarctica has already yielded remarkable insights, but it has also raised new questions. Satellite imaging, ice core drilling, and subglacial surveys have revealed landscapes hidden beneath kilometers of ice, from mountain ranges and valleys to vast networks of subglacial lakes. These discoveries suggest that Antarctica is far more dynamic and complex than previously imagined. Beneath its frozen surface lies an entire buried world, one that has been locked away for millions of years. As scientists probe deeper, they anticipate uncovering not only geological structures but also biological surprises. The possibility of microbial life thriving in isolated ecosystems beneath the ice has already been demonstrated in environments like Lake Vostok, where water has been sealed off from the surface for hundreds of thousands of years. The future may bring the revelation of entire ecosystems, untouched and unobserved, that could expand our understanding of how life adapts to extreme conditions. Climate studies are another crucial dimension of Antarctic research, and they carry immense implications for the planet's future. Ice cores drilled from deep within the continent provide a direct record of Earth's climate history stretching back hundreds of thousands of years. Within these frozen layers, scientists can read the story of past ice ages, warming periods, volcanic eruptions, and atmospheric changes. This record helps us understand not only what has happened, but also what might come. Current research shows that Antarctica's ice sheets are far from stable. Warming oceans are already undermining massive glaciers, threatening to raise global sea levels dramatically. Some projections suggest that if key ice shelves collapse, the resulting sea level rise could displace millions of people worldwide, redrawing coastlines and altering the course of human civilization. In this sense, Antarctica is not a distant, irrelevant place but the front line of climate change, a region whose transformations will affect every continent on Earth. Yet, for all the pressing urgency of climate studies, there remains another aspect of Antarctica that captures the imagination: the possibility of secrets beneath the ice that might rewrite human history. Satellite images have occasionally sparked fascination by revealing geometric formations that some interpret as artificial structures. While mainstream science explains these as natural geological features or illusions caused by the play of light and shadow on the ice, the allure of hidden civilizations remains strong. Myths of lost cities, pyramids buried in snow, and ancient artifacts sealed in frozen vaults continue to circulate in popular culture and conspiracy theories alike. The future of exploration may put these theories to the test. As technology advances, with ground-penetrating radar, autonomous submersibles, and precision satellite imaging, we may be able to map Antarctica in unprecedented detail. If there is even a sliver of truth in the speculation, the tools of the next decades might be sufficient to reveal it. The question of human history intertwines with Antarctica in other ways as well. Some researchers speculate that before the continent was buried under ice, it might have been a temperate and habitable land. Geological evidence supports this. Millions of years ago, Antarctica was part of the supercontinent Gondwana and was covered in forests teeming with life. Fossils of ancient reptiles, amphibians, and plants have been found, suggesting that Antarctica once thrived with ecosystems far different from today's frozen desert. If the ice continues to melt in the coming centuries, it may expose more of these ancient remnants, giving us new windows into Earth's prehistoric past. Such discoveries could dramatically expand our knowledge of evolution, extinction, and the resilience of life across ages. There is also the intriguing possibility that Antarctica may reveal evidence of early human interaction with the continent. Officially, Antarctica is not thought to have been visited by humans until modern times, yet tantalizing suggestions persist that ancient civilizations may have known more than we give them credit for. Old maps, such as the controversial Piri Reis map of 1513, appear to depict parts of Antarctica's coastline with surprising accuracy, despite the continent supposedly being unknown at the time. If further research finds credible evidence that ancient peoples were aware of Antarctica, it would challenge our assumptions about navigation, exploration, and the extent of early human knowledge. While mainstream scholars are cautious about such interpretations, the unfolding of future discoveries could reopen the debate. In terms of technology and science, Antarctica offers vast opportunities for the decades ahead. It is an unparalleled laboratory for studying not only Earth's climate, but also the cosmos. The clarity of its skies, the thinness of its atmosphere, and the absence of light pollution make it an ideal site for astronomical observations. Already, research stations host telescopes and instruments designed to capture cosmic rays, neutrinos, and signals from deep space. As humanity pushes forward into space exploration, Antarctica may continue to serve as a model for how humans can survive and conduct research in extreme, isolated environments. Lessons learned here could be applied to future missions to Mars or icy moons such as Europa, where conditions parallel those of Antarctica's subglacial lakes. What the future holds is also shaped by geopolitics. Antarctica is governed by an international treaty that prohibits military activity and preserves the continent for peaceful scientific exploration. Yet as resources become scarcer and global tensions rise, questions about the continent's untapped wealth grow louder. Beneath the ice, vast reserves of minerals, oil, and gas are believed to exist, though exploitation is currently forbidden. As climate change potentially alters the landscape and technology makes extraction more feasible, debates may intensify about whether Antarctica will remain protected or become the site of resource competition. If that happens, the continent could shift from being a symbol of international cooperation to a flashpoint of global conflict. How humanity chooses to handle this will define the future role of Antarctica in world affairs. Alongside such practical considerations, Antarctica will continue to occupy a symbolic role in human imagination. For centuries, it has been the last frontier, the ultimate unknown at the bottom of the world. Its remoteness and harshness create an aura of mystery that makes it fertile ground for speculation about lost civilizations, alien contact, and hidden dimensions of the Earth itself. While many of these ideas fall outside mainstream science, their persistence speaks to a deep human need for mystery and for the possibility of wonder. The future will likely bring more discoveries that straddle the line between scientific fact and imaginative interpretation. Every new anomaly recorded, every unexplained signal detected, and every unusual formation spotted on satellite imagery will add to the layers of intrigue that surround this enigmatic continent. The most profound impact of Antarctica's future may lie in how it forces us to re-examine our place in the larger story of Earth. The continent is a time capsule, preserving records of past climates, ancient life, and perhaps even forgotten chapters of human history. It is also a mirror of the present, reflecting the global consequences of human activity as its ice sheets respond to rising temperatures. And it may be a key to the future, holding answers to questions about survival, adaptation, and resilience, not only for humanity but for life in extreme environments across the universe. Ultimately, the secrets of Antarctica may reveal themselves gradually, in layers as ice retreats, technologies advance, and researchers push further into its heart. Some discoveries may be entirely within the realm of science. Fossils that rewrite evolutionary history, microbes that expand our definition of life, or ice cores that sharpen our predictions about the future climate. Others may challenge our imagination, fueling speculation about civilizations, technologies, or connections to mysteries far beyond Earth. The continent's silence and remoteness make it uniquely suited to such revelations. It is one of the few places left where the unknown feels genuinely alive. The future of Antarctica is thus inseparable from the future of humanity. What we uncover there may change how we view ourselves, our history, and our destiny. The ice will not keep its secrets forever. Whether through the slow work of science, the upheaval of climate change, or the probing of human curiosity, those secrets are destined to come to light, and when they do, they may alter not just our understanding of a frozen continent but of the Earth itself and of our place within it. Antarctica has always been more than a land of ice. It is a land of possibilities, a place where the boundaries of knowledge and imagination meet. As the coming decades unfold, it may prove to be the stage upon which some of the greatest discoveries of the modern age are revealed. Discoveries that have the power to rewrite human history in ways we can scarcely imagine today.